Jeremy here, Jeeps Unlimited, partsbreakers.com, 303-666-9020. Not the view you normally get. It was 75 yesterday, and it was really supposed to drop down like 10 degrees, and it's 70 again today. So I'm going to take advantage of it and give you my poor man's aerial footage, or my poor man's drone, the old school way, because I can't swing it right now to buy one I want. So here's our yard. That's something you probably more used to, not from this angle, and I wish I would have done this a week ago because it's changed already a lot. But let me give you a little bit of if you haven't caught our videos or don't know who we are and just happened upon this video, this is Jeeps Unlimited. We're located in Grand Junction, Colorado, which is, if you're not familiar with Colorado, Grand Junction is the very most western city, at least fairly big city. 100,000 people, not huge, but somewhat. They live in this valley, in the valley, not just the city. The city's probably only got about 20,000. City's down yonder here. It's a beautiful area. We have Colorado National Monuments over here. There's a dirt biking. That's what I rode up today. Should have brought my helmet. I'm in my tennis shoes. And this is one steep hill here and a lot of cactus. But right out the backyard here, we have the Uncompadre, which basically goes all the way down to Telluride to San Juan's, 140-mile trail system. Jeeps, dirt bikes, just absolute heaven out here. And one of the big reasons we moved over here, that and to raise our kids in a smaller area than Denver, because that became kind of a shit show. And then Denver, of course, is that way, 240 miles. And Salt Lake City is that way, 240 miles. We're right smack in between the two. So we moved over here in 2018. The company's been around since 1984, and really have never, since we moved over here, taken the time to really fine-tune this yard and make it as efficient and productive as possible. So that's what we're doing right now. And what we've been doing, what we've been working on, and there's probably some pretty good photos online, where the Connex containers are, this one was actually facing the same way these other ones were. We had all our racking there. And all of our vehicles, and this line of Cherokees you see here, were out in the middle of the yard amongst the rest of those Jeeps there. And that's basically how we ran it for the last 7 years. And it ran okay. The problem we have over here is what I'm standing on right now is this adobe, dirt, mud, whatever you want to call it. It's not mud right now, but it turns into mud very quickly. Very sticky mud. And it makes the yard almost impossible to do anything in. You'll get everything stuck out in it, let alone yourself. We always tease people when they come in on rainy days, you can go back there, but you're going to gain some height. And no joke, every step you take, you'll go up an inch. It's that kind of mud that just doesn't come off easy. And unfortunately, it creates a pretty bad dust. Gets in an office, gets in the house. We live on the property. So we're trying to make it so where we use our muddy areas for our vehicles, which we can get back with our big equipment, and really pushing everything, our Connex containers and our racking up close towards where we dismantle. Our dismantling is happening right now in the garage, the bigger of the two. Not a huge garage here. We had a real big garage at our last place, but we didn't have a yard. We have 7 acres here, and most everything we have out here is Jeep. There were a lot of vehicles when we bought the yard that are still left over, and that's part of the other process we're going to be doing here soon. We have a crusher down here, which just got moved. That originally was sitting over there, and as I said yesterday in a video, it really became a catch-all of crap, really close to where I don't want crap being, which is our garage. And, it was a place that our guys just, hey, this is convenient. It's a heck of a lot better than walking out in the muddy yard, so let's just throw it here. So we've lost a lot of product, a lot of breakage over the years, and just been very inefficient. We've done okay running it this way, but it's really just not efficient, and I'm just tired of it. And I want to see a difference. So I climbed on top of the loader, not that loader, our forklift, which is actually over here now. We have another yard here, a little yard which we keep most of our personal and then customer vehicles. We have a front yard, which is where the semi trailers are. You probably can't see those very well, but let's see. those two semi-trailers out there. There's probably an acre over there. And then we have, of course, our tubs and frames at the moment are here, although I'd like to get these back down into the main yard and use this for personal. I want to build a little dirt bike track out here. So we have a pretty good little hillside for it, and my little boy is just learning. So anyway, back to here. So I really wanted to show this as it sits right now. I'll take some photos because it's transforming very quickly. Finally, it's been a year-long project of literally taking down racking, moving all of our parts that were on all our racking are sitting over here on pallets. The ones that can be outside, the ones that have to be inside are electronics or wiring, ECMs, anything like that are still in those Conex containers. We'll have to empty those before we can move them. But I really wanted to show before this gets underway so we can look back on it. A lot of this is just for our own, like, look where we've come from, but it's also kind of cool for customers, I think, to see the inner workings of a junkyard of this size. I mean, by no means is it the largest junkyard out there as far as just a general junkyard, but as far as a niche junkyard, meaning we primarily Jeeps, and I would say, when I say primarily, about 95% just Jeeps. The oddballs that we have along that hillside are gonna go away, and it will be all Jeeps, but for now those are there, taking up space. So for a niche junkyard or specialty yard that's just Jeeps, there's really nothing out there. I've been all the way, I've driven myself. As a matter of fact, I do this several times a year when we deliver our tubs and frames, all the way out to Maine. I went to Canada in January. I've been doing this for 22 years myself. The company's been around since '84. But point of it is that I have been in some yards that are fairly good size that are just Jeeps. But still, the one advantage we have over all those yards is we're rust-free. Our picking grounds, which is our home state, Colorado, and then our surrounding states western of us. Because if you go to one state east of us, like Kansas, they use salt on the roads. We don't use salt on the roads here. So therefore we don't have rust here. We're not near an ocean, so we don't have that issue. So we buy a lot from Colorado. We buy from Utah. You got to watch Utah, Wyoming, Idaho. Those are good states, but those are also states that in some areas they use salt. So you will find rust in those areas. So you really have to do a kind of a fine tune when we go out and buy stuff. Wranglers and CJs, of course, long before I bought Jeeps Unlimited, I only did Wranglers and CJs, and those we have. There's probably 20 of them in the yard right now, which isn't that many, but they part. The one thing is they part so quickly. Like a Cherokee will sit out here for, a few months before we finally crush it. There's a lot of these that actually do need to be crushed that are pretty much done, but nonetheless, that's how they are. Grand Cherokees, those come apart in a few months, and you get what you get, and then you get rid of the rest. A Wrangler and a CJ, usually, if we're on it, and right now because we're doing a yard cleanup, we're not really polished right now, but if we're on it, we can part out a Wrangler CJ in about 3 days, literally down to the nuts and bolts. That's how fast they go. So with what we have right now, considering we haven't bought a lot of inventory, at least in the last 2 weeks, we bought a ton of TJs a few weeks ago, but with what we have right now, there's a few down here. There's a couple oddballs mixed up in here. There's a few in that line, and then we have 4 or 5 over here, and then there's a couple way up front here along the fence line that need to be processed and brought back. And there's even a couple CJs up there as well. So what I would like to see every day has been this big monument of shifting of stuff. So my hope is by the end of the day, especially with the 70-degree weather, we have the center section here. All the vehicles that are left here are somewhat organized into this little section in the middle here. That's where our crusher was sitting temporarily. We used to sit over here. So hopefully those are all processed over here, and these as well come over here, condensing all this down. All the tires that we have left that we haven't used, or wheels that are still mounted, the wheel racks are over here, but the wheel tires that are still mounted are going to get pushed over to the side over here, or we're wheeled over. Our engines and our scrap area, which is right here, is all going to get moved back to our scrap area. This is going to be our new scrap area. And a lot of these engines are still buildable, but they just didn't make the cut for good runners. Some of them still run, but not ran well or didn't have good compression. So, and we really take a lot of pride in what we sell. We try to buy everything running and driving, but it's not always the case. So if something doesn't come in running and driving, we try to get it running and driving, and then we'll see how they run and what the compression is, if we have to do a leak down, and yada, yada, yada. So and then I'm hoping to fill in this pit. We have 2 pits that were here before we bought the place. And they take up a gigantic part of real estate. And when they dug them, they didn't re-level the yard. So we have sitting water issues. So we're gonna fill in these in. This is like a catch-all just junk right now it's waiting to be just crushed. And then this one again with the tires. So my hope is today have the walls knocked down for the concrete that's down here. So, because it's got a lip on it, I'm gonna bury most of it. There's a pile of crap, and it's been here since we bought the yard. My finger keeps focusing, but right there. I got rid of a lot of it. I brought in a scrap bin, or a junk bin, roll off, and I couldn't believe how expensive it was. It was the yard, the literally landfill is right there. You can see the fence for it. So it's not far. But it was like $1,500. I'm like, all right. I got rid of the big stuff. The rest of it and it's all like wood and just crap, concrete. I'm gonna bury it here today, hopefully, if I can get access. The problem is I put a whole bunch of pallets in, so I gotta make a nice path, not mess up anything to do that, put all that here. Unfortunately, I don't have my bucket anymore for my loader, or it's not attached anyway. The brackets are weird on it. So I'm gonna have to do it all with a forklift and a little tractor. And, but that's the goal, is having that. That'll free up a whole bunch of area there for vehicles that are the non-Jeep crap that we can kind of start condensing and slowly start pulling off. You can see our grills and our fenders are kind of scattered along the hillsides. They don't get damaged while we're in this move process. So that's what my plan is today, is to move all that stuff. I hate how it keeps focusing on my hands. Move all those vehicles, move all the tires. I'm all by myself today. I mean, I have workers out here, but they're doing other things. Move the rest of here, move the engines and all that stuff there over to here, work on getting back to the pile of crap back there, bring it into this pit, knocking down the concrete walls, taking the big dirt pile we have here and whatever dirt we get into that, and filling in at least this one here. This one's not going to happen for a while. With that being level, Jim and John are going to be fixing the dozer today, because with the front carriage unit broke on it, meaning it cracked. It's still running, but it cracked the whole front end, so they got to fix that today. They're going to bring in a big welder. My little welder's probably not enough for it. And hopefully have that dozer up and going. And then, and again, this is all hypotheticals depending on how much I get done today. If that is cleared, this area here, we're going to level that out so we can start bringing these containers over to the front and lining them up. And then we're going to put a lean-to roof on it. That ain't going to happen today, and I don't even think we'll get those containers moved today, but at least everything, when I come back up here, maybe tomorrow, we will be able to see a difference. So I'll take a couple photos while I'm up here. But the point of all this is obviously to sell Jeep parts. So if you happen to need any Jeep parts, this is the best time to call us, because A, it's always our slow season. And B, I'm a heck of a lot more willing to wheel and deal when I have to move something twice, 3 times than I am once it gets to where it's going. We don't usually go down on our prices very much because it sells so quick. But right now, if there's something that you're wanting, it doesn't hurt to ask and see if we're running any kind of specials for them. And do it now, because I think in about a week we're going to have this thing pretty much dialed up, and then we'll start setting our racking up again. Parts will go back on the shelves, and then winter's going to be here full swing, and hopefully we'll have some rock brought in to mitigate at least the mud in the front area for now, and then we'll work on the back of it next spring. So okay, so hopefully you've enjoyed. This is, it's not an aerial, or it's not a drone video like I really wanted, but it's good enough, right? And I don't want to buy a cheap drone to give me mediocre images. Plus, I don't have the time to mess with one of those things right now. Someday. All right. Again, Jeremy here, Jeeps Unlimited, partsbreakers.com, 303-666-9020. If you ever have any interest in coming out to Colorado and want to check us out, I'd be happy to point you in some directions or possibly even go out with you, depending on what I'm doing at the moment. But anyway, it's November, I think it's the 6th today. So have a great rest of your week. It's almost Thursday, right? Thursday, yeah. I think it's Thursday. So a couple more days left, and then we all got the weekend to look forward to.